What's going on, guys? This is Joey Young coming at you another video today. So today I'm going to give you guys an update on the new Pleco tank. So last week you guys saw me kind of clean this tank up, rescaped it, really just tear down the tank, got rid of all of the substrate, and then put in a bunch of driftwood and a bunch of Pleco caves so I can set up a Pleco breeding tank. Alright, so from last week, so what's new with this tank? I added some more plants onto the actual driftwood here. I'm going to kind of let it hang on the top there and let it kind of drag and maybe possibly cover this area and probably a little bit over here so that I'll have some shading for the plecos. Obviously this light is pretty bright, but it's going to help with the plant growth and whatnot, so I think that's going to do just fine. And also, in addition to this tank, I added a MP10 that I had laying around. This is for more oxygen. Obviously plecos, they like more oxygen, and I noticed that when I didn't have the actual wave maker or just running just a filter here, a lot of the plecos were kind of gasping or kind of breathing a little bit harder or faster, just because one, the temperature is a little bit on the higher end for them. It was actually at like 82, and I actually dialed it down a little bit because I didn't have this guy going in yet. But now I have this going. The temperature, I'm probably going to stick around 78 to 80 range. May turn it up, once these guys get a little bit bigger for breeding. I know that some of them likes a little bit hotter temperature, but I'm gonna, stick with this temperature and see what happens. And for the most part, the driftwood seems like they're holding down in place pretty well right now. Some of them, did float a little bit. In probably a couple weeks here, I can probably remove some of these caves that are holding it and kind of position them correctly. Now, some of the bigger plecos, they found their own caves that they like, and they kind of just went straight to that. A lot of actually the Starlight plecos are in the back with the driftwood. They actually like to cling on the driftwood more than actual caves. So I'll be kind of interested to see, what they do, just because I don't see any of them right now except for maybe like one guy in the back, but I can't even really see him. So this albino pleco is an OG. He's been with me since I started the channel. He's actually one of my first fish along with the Discus that I had. So he's been around, and he's just picking between this cave up top here and this cave here, and then he likes the cave all the way on the far left, so he kind of just picks and chooses what he wants. He's the bigger one in there, so I guess he'll dominate them for a little while. Alright guys, so I do have to confess, I did make a new mistake in terms of buying these heaters. So I bought these heaters a long time ago, right? And this heater actually has got swapped already, but in this tank I had a 200 watt heater, which is perfectly fine for this 54 gallon. But right now this is a 100 watt heater. Now that 100 watt heater probably doesn't even have enough power to power, like a 20 gallon tank or so at high temperatures. Now at lower temperatures it probably can hold it pretty strongly, but at if you want to have at like 84 or 86 for temperatures for Discus, it's very hard for that heater, especially in that wattage, to maintain it. So you guys are probably wondering why am I even mentioning this? Well, the thing is, with Discus, they need to be at higher temperatures, and obviously I moved the Discus from this tank to this tank, and before, when they were in this tank, they had the 200 watt heater. They were fine at holding the temperature at 84 degrees with the perfect heater. But when I did swap the Discus to this tank was using a heater not rated for the tank size. Now the fish that I had in here before was plecos. Now with plecos, they can live in any range of temperatures for the most part, as long as that's above 75. They should be fine. So how did I even catch it? Because the heater never actually sat here for this tank. It actually sat under the sump. So when I was actually looking at this tank and actually touch a lot of my tanks with waters, and I kind of do like it's not hot enough, not cold enough, it's just through experience or whatever, I noticed that the Discus tank was a lot cooler than actually the Pleco tank, which sits across from here, and it's only at like 78 or 80. I'm like, that's kind of weird. So looking at the thermometer showed that it was at like 76-ish, right? So I was like, that's weird. Maybe the heater malfunctioned. So what I did was I went down to the sump, I grabbed that heater and I put it up here. I made sure it was clicked on to 84 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was. But the thing was, that heater didn't have enough juice to get from 76 to 84. Literally, it didn't move like the whole like day. It did not move at all. So what I did was I just went ahead and swapped these two heaters. This one's now a 200 watt, so this one definitely can power this. The 100 watt is in this tank temporarily. I'm gonna go buy another heater to backfill the Pleco tank specifically. But the thing was, like, what got to me was, like, I was like, oh crap, you know, my Zebra Pleco tank, my other tank, I have a same heater that's rated for that tank, and that tank is actually bigger than this tank. And I was like, that tank is probably not even getting the right heat. And of course, I went over here to check the temperature, and actually this tank does not have any thermometers in the actual tank. So I just grabbed one of these digital ones, stuck it in there, and I noticed that the temperature was only at 78 degrees. Now, if you've been following my videos, I've been saying, you know, I've been turning up the heat for this to try to get the temperatures up so they can breed. This might be one of the reasons why I don't see any breeding activity, because a lot of, like, I know like at least 3 or 4 of these guys are actually big enough to breed for a while now. And it's probably because the temperature's not at the right temperature because I got the wrong heater size. Oh man, I'm such a noob. So I went ahead and ordered a larger heater size for this tank specifically. And of course, from mistakes, you do learn from them. For me, I don't really use heaters as much for a lot of my tanks. It's only specific tanks that actually do need heat, you know, throughout the year. For the most part, only 2 of the months, I actually really need to use heaters for most of my tanks just to kind of keep it up, you know, in the 70s, so that it doesn't drop too low in like winter months pretty much. Now, when I corrected the tank temperature for the Discus, actually you can see here, they basically color up a little bit better, and also they are looking to clean this actual cone right now, so they can probably start breeding pretty soon here. They seem to breed every week, so I'm hoping, you know, we get some luck and some baby fries will come out. And you know, a lot of the tank here is, you know, enclosed for them, so I'm hoping that, you know, they don't get scared as easily or find the need to kill their fry, because, you know, if it's such a big open area. If the actual fries actually make it to, you know, a decent size, I'm going to actually put them in this tank here temporarily to grow them out. This is the reason why I kind of have it bare bottom as well, is to possibly grow the fries out here. Obviously, if I do get some Discus fry, I'm going to probably need to remove the wave maker, because it's going to be too strong for the Discus, and I'll probably have to temporarily use something else to help aerate this tank while the fries are in here. So my other option is I could put the baby Discus in here if they're big enough so that the angelfish don't eat them. Now, don't mind this thing here. This thing keeps popping out for me for whatever reason. There's algae on the actual glass here, but it seems like the suction cups for one of them is just failing, and it just keeps popping off. So I'm just like, whatever, I'm just gonna let it, you know, roam, do its thing. So, and while we're at it over here, I did end up putting the 3 Ultims, my original ones, into this tank, and as you can see here, they're all looking very nice, very happy, and they're very large compared to the ones I bought. But to be honest, the ones I bought were a lot bigger ones than when I bought the other original ones from. So definitely excited for these guys to grow up and grow into this tank. As you can see, they have a lot more room to grow in and swim up and down with, so I'm hoping to keep this theme in this tank. All these actual plants down here don't grow really high, so that's about the same height, or the height that it'll get to, and everything else is free swimming area for the actual angels. Now, if you guys look up front here, I'm super happy that I'm getting more splits here. So more of the Iguazu 2009 plants are actually splitting. This right here was the original mom plant. From the mom, I was able to split, you know, this guy, and then there's actually one more in a different tank. And then finally, this mom here recently split that guy right there. I'm trying to propagate a lot of these guys because I know that they're really actually hard to get in the market or in the hobby. One, they're slow growers, and 2, they're just super pricey. And once I have enough of these guys propagated, I'll probably start posting them similar to my Iryo Japan Chigas. I have a bunch growing in the other tank and a bunch trying to propagate in my tanks outside. So when the temperatures are getting a little bit warmer and actually start shipping plants, I will probably post 1 or 2 of those guys up because I do have a few of those available. So this has always been one of my goals, is to actually breed Discus, which I've done, but also raise the actual fry all the way up to adult. That's actually one of my goals in this hobby, is to try to do that. And so with these 2 pairs, I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers, I may end up, even having to probably put something down, a divider, to separate the male, because it seems like the male is the one that's eating the actual fry. So we'll see what happens if I have to do that. We'll have to do that, but I just need, the fries to get to a certain size so I can separate them from the parents and try to grow them out. Alright guys, and that is the quick update for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's update. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys hit that notification button. And as always, until next time guys, peace.
As the leaves start falling down and the shadows above the town, I can finally see you now.